The 3 new iPhones could be a turning point for Apple. The highly anticipated iPhone X may bring a much-needed boost to its smartphone sales. New models of the Apple TV and Apple Watch also had attention-grabbing new features.
As we mentioned, the iPhone 8 will cost you $699 big ones and $799 for the iPhone 8 Plus. The iPhone X, on the other hand, will set you back $999. So with us now is Nick Thompson. He is editor-in-chief of Wired magazine and a CBS News contributor. All right, so what are your initial thoughts on these new products?
On all of the new products? Or
well, everybody wants to talk about the iPhone. I actually want to talk about Apple TV because the jump from the 3rd generation to the 4th generation was significant. The features in the 4th generation of the Apple TV were very different than the original incarnations. What is different about this new one?
Well, the new one, it supports 4K. It will upgrade your old library. I mean, I actually thought this was the least interesting part of the whole presentation. They're kind of behind, and they charge you the same amount of cost for 3 Rokus. Like, I'm not sure what the selling point is on the Apple TV. Slightly integrates with your Apple Life if you have lots of other Apple products, but that was kind of a snooze for me. They tried to hype it up, and they made it sound kind of like Tim Cook invented 4K, but I mean, they're so good at theater that for a moment you're like, oh, wow, and then you're like, wait, what?
But this is important consumer news because for a lot of people like myself who bought the 4th generation recently, you don't have to go out and run out and upgrade to this new one.
Right.
Okay, you don't need to do that.
So, iPhone.
Okay, yeah, that's what everyone wants
We can talk about the watch. I actually think the watch was impressive.
Okay, let's talk about the watch.
There is like the most significant game-changing thing might be in the watch where they put a cellular chip in, so now you don't need to have your phone with you while you use your watch, which is a great feature. I would never use it running because I don't want to carry my phone when I'm running. I could conceivably use this watch. So that was actually a significant upgrade.
You could talk to it like Dick Tracy?
Yeah, you can talk to it. You can take calls. They had somebody on a like a paddleboard taking a call. Apparently, so yesterday in the video, they show a woman on a paddleboard, an Apple employee, taking a call on her watch. Apparently, in the rehearsal, and this is very important news, she fell off into the water. So that was the moment where they were
and it was okay.
And well, yes, these things are incredibly waterproof. Even the phones are waterproof. Yeah. Even though people complain about it.
I don't know.
I experimented with that.
Do you like the idea? I can't stand people like walking around the city like, yeah, dude, talk to me like I'll see you next week.
Right.
I'm like, I don't want to hear the conversation.
That's weird. That's not how it's supposed to work.
Is that how the watch works?
Yeah, you have to hold it up and talk to it. It's unfortunate.
But you know what? We'll get used to it.
You're not going to do a long conversation on your watch.
Right.
People don't even talk anymore. I don't think
exactly.
Like
everyone's texting. Plus, we've gotten used to people walking around looking like they're talking to themselves, but in actuality, they're talking on the phone. But what everyone's talking about is the iPhone X, right? Is it a game changer? Is it $1,000 worth of a game changer?
No, it is great. It is an amazing phone. It looks beautiful. The specs, everything is much faster. The photography will be way better. I think the design is incredible. It seems intuitive. I love they have face recognition. I think that's a very cool system. But $1,000 for a phone, you should get it if your company will pay for it and you like new products. For an individual, maybe to wait a year.
So my current phone is not a paperweight suddenly? It's still. This will still be considered modern technology. This is the 7. Because I am one of those people. I am one of those people that when I first heard $1,000, I thought, oh, that's crazy. And then
she was like, wait a second.
Okay, so let me make the argument for it. The phone is the most important device in your life. I mean, think about the number of times you use your phone. So any marginal improvement, if you take tons and tons of pictures, a marginal improvement in the camera, is that worth $200 a year? Maybe. Is having the new faster processor and everything worth $200? Maybe. So
I brought you here to make me responsible with my money, not irresponsible with my money. Now I don't know what to do.
What's the largest storage size on the new 10?
Gosh, I can't remember the exact size. It's probably 256 or something. I mean, they have like huge storage on these things.
So that's important too, I think. But yeah, I don't know. It's like it is. You're absolutely right, Nick. The telephone, the mobile device has become the most important function or feature in our lives, but it shouldn't be. And $1,000 for a phone, as you actually said something before we started taping that your first car was $350.
Right. So we're looking at On the other hand, I use my phone a lot more than I used that car.
Well, you live in New York, so.
I mean, it's an utterly essential compendium to everything we do. So maybe you should spend as much as you can on getting the best possible features. On the other hand, the price is absolutely outrageous. And also, there will be a learning curve. Like, they have changed a lot with it. They got rid of the home button. All those gestures and all those things we've gotten used to for multitasking, for closing apps. They're going to be very confusing. So they're going to be very confusing people for a little while. So you have to be one of those people who wants to do that and to go through that process.
The fear, of course, is that, and this is sort of a serious question, the fear is that when you set the barometer, when you set the price of a mobile device at $1,000 and people pay for it, in other words, the demand is there.
That's what I was thinking.
Then the next version is $1,200 and then $1,300. And next thing you know,
that we actually have a competitive phone market now, right? So this is a rare moment where Apple is not so far ahead that they have complete elasticity on their price. They can charge whatever you want because you have to get it. The Samsung and Google competitors are quite good. The problem, though, is that our phone market, it's not clear, right? Because so much of the cost is embedded in what we pay the wireless carriers. It would be way better if we bought the phones independent of the wireless carriers. Then there would be price competition, be way more pressure on these companies to keep the prices down. But so much of it is hidden. It's confusing to the market.
Right. I just want to identify a couple of the other features. You talked about the face recognition, which you say is very good, which means that it will recognize me when I wake up in the morning and the way I look now that I have all the war paint on.
It should be able to take care of makeup. It should be able to not get confused by tans.
You look the same when you wake up.
God bless you. Like, I love working.
I didn't do a great job shaving this morning. It should be able to take care of that. The really interesting question is, will it be possible to spoof, right? So most face recognition systems have been spoofable. You can get a really good picture and hold it up. And that's a problem, right? Because nobody knows what my thumbprint looks like, but everybody knows what my face looks like because we're on TV talking. But with Apple, there will be depth sensors so that you can't fool it with a two-dimensional image. And presumably there's a whole bunch of other stuff baked in so that even a couple years from now when you 3D print my head, it will be hard to spoof it.
A couple years from now, Vlad already has a 3D version of himself.
Right, so if you have a twin, you actually have to, and if you have a twin and you don't trust your twin, this is something they talked about yesterday, you got a problem you really need to do with the number code.
Or your thumb. So ultimately, you think it was a good day for Apple?
I think it was a good. I mean, the stock was down a little bit, suggesting that maybe it wasn't as good a day. There was one real glitch where the face recognition didn't work in the demo. Overall, I did think it was a very impressive day for Apple. I mean, nothing will ever compete to when they launched the iPhone and when they launched the iPad. And so holding to that standard isn't quite fair. But yeah, this is a company that still invents all kinds of great stuff.
I said this yesterday, which is I really do believe that when Steve Jobs introduced the world to the iPhone, or to the iPod, it was a revolutionary moment. For me, it represented freedom. I don't know if he said this in his comments, but it represented freedom. I'm a huge music nerd. The ability to carry like all 5,000, albums that I had in my record collection with me wherever I went was enormous freedom. Now I feel like I'm in a prison because I'm so tied in. I have an iPad, an iPhone, and an iWatch, and Apple TV, and because I'm too lazy to learn an Android device, I'm consistently buying Apple products, which is probably what they want.
Of course, it's what they want. I mean, they are actually trying to get a little bit of the freedom back. They talked yesterday about having 40,000 songs on your wrist, which is a little bit reminiscent of 1,000 songs in your pocket. And one of the notions of the watch with the cellular capabilities built into it is that it should allow you to be free of being tethered to your phone. So at least you won't have to carry all your Apple products at the exact same time. You can just buy thousands of them and use one at a time is where I think they're headed. The feature that I want them to do, I think they should build a phone that you then set and you say, I'm only going to use these apps for a certain amount of time. Because the fundamental problem with our phones is that we get sucked into them. We use Twitter more than we want, we use Facebook more than we want, right? Or we use games more than we want. If you could build a phone that actually lets you limit and structure how you use it, that would be amazing. And nobody else will do that. Only Apple will do it because they're only in the business of selling phones. They're not also selling these apps. They don't also have their own social network.
So now we're kind of going beyond the commentary on the phone, but do you think that these phones are helping us or harming us?
Okay, now this is like...
I know this is getting like deeper than anyone anticipated.
Is God real or is God not real?
This is Ready Player One material.
I mean, maybe it's tipped. Maybe the balance is tipped where we are so dependent on these phones that a phone that helps us become independent of it might be a good thing.
Okay, so there's really, really interesting data. So there's a company called Moment, and what it does is it tells you at the end of the day how much time you spend in different apps. And then you say whether you were happy or sad about it.
What's it called?
The data, it's called Moment. And I can send you the chart. We could put it up on screen one day. But it's incredible because there's certain apps everybody is happy, right? Everybody's happy they used Waze. Everybody's happy they used Google Calendar. People are happy they use Evernote. But they're miserable that they spend 59 minutes in Facebook, that they spend 61 minutes in Candy Crush. The worst is Grindr, right? People are so frustrated with the time they spend in Grindr.
Right.
But people can't stop. They spend way more time in these apps than they want to, and so the phone actually makes them unhappy. And so we have these phones, which are more powerful than supercomputers used to be a long time ago. We have them with us all the time. and yet in a lot of ways they make us miserable.
Yeah.
So how do you solve that problem? It's a really hard problem.
Right.
And most of the smartest engineers in America are working to make that problem worse because they work for Facebook and they work for Twitter and they're trying to pull you deeper and deeper in.
Right.
And or they work for Grindr and they're trying to get you to spend more time in it.
Yeah.
So that is an incredibly hard problem, and it's something we all need to think about.
I've solved that problem, but I don't have Facebook on either of my devices.
Is that how you do it?
Yeah, if I log onto Facebook, it's on the computer.
Oh, that's good, because I mindlessly log on to Facebook. Like, I pick up my phone, I check Facebook, so I get it.
Because it has a notification, and it says people have said things, and oh, they said things about me. Oh, okay, they haven't said anything about me, but look at that cute baby picture. Oh my gosh, what happened in Macedonia, right? And so suddenly you're just, and then 30 minutes have passed, and you're late for whatever you were doing, or you didn't talk to whoever else is important in your life.
Yeah.
So that's the hard thing about phones.
Oh man, that's a whole other topic, which we sort of dabbled in.
Always great to have Nick Thompson here. Thank you, Nick.
Delighted to be here. Thanks.